There's a structure that's off of Malibu that was available on Google Maps.
Was a structure.
And now it's blurred out.
Yep.
But it looked like there's openings in it. There's a top that's flat. It looks like
a base.
Looks like a base.
Looks like a base.
Yeah.
You know, if
now it doesn't.
Now it just looks like blurry water.
Yeah, like why does it look different now? Like what's going on?
With a gun to my head, all the weird stuff is in the ocean. It's not from another planet.
Really?
Nah, I don't know. Who knows? But it makes a lot more sense that the stuff we're seeing, it's the best place to hide is just deep water.
So not from another planet originally? Like maybe originally, and that's where they make their base?
It's hard for me to square how to travel great distances. It's hard for me to square that. You know, I know that we've got the Albuquerque drive and warp drive and all these theoretical things about compressing space-time and all of that. I get it. But it's hard for me to think that that's solvable. But what is interesting is maybe another species evolved alongside of us a long time ago and has been here a long time and said, you know what, let's go, this is where we go to avoid cataclysms and geological instability.
That's a weird one, though, because, like, what kind of technology are you utilizing? How did you achieve that level of technological superiority and not completely control man? Because if I was an intelligent species that was capable of developing bases under the water, I'd be super concerned at all the different things that human beings are doing to ruin things. Like, if we had chimps that all of a sudden had flamethrowers and they were lighting the jungle on fire, we'd probably take their flamethrowers.
So, like, we would turn off a nuclear reactor.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk about humans. If this theory is true that they evolved here, there were no humans. Humans are 300,000 years old. It would take whatever species a lot longer than that to evolve to this technological level. And we've seen the craft just zip into water with no displacement.
Right.
You know, where are they going? And there are unnamed whistleblowers, you know, anonymous sources that say there's a base near the Bermuda Triangle. The Navy knows about it. They know not to get close. It moves around a little bit. I'm going to do an episode on it soon because it's just too good not to. Corroborated by another biologist who said he worked with the retrieval team, and yes, there's stuff. And what this base does is it from raw materials creates craft to go on specific missions. So there's always the question, you know, why is there a saucer? Why does it look like a pyramid? Why is it this? It's because they're custom built for a mission. And there's an AI and a species down there, and they say, all right, we're going to go survey Mount Hayes in Alaska. Super fascinating place. So we only need a scanning gear, some propulsion, and we just build it. It fits in an orb, send it out, does its thing, comes back, and then it gets broken down to its parts. And then another mission, build it. It's going to be a triangle. It's going to be this or that. Does its mission, comes back. To me, that makes good sense. A good way to do that, a good way to conserve resources, not have to go out and get stuff. It's a fun theory.
It's a fun theory, yeah. It's a fun theory also that if you were creating bases here, like say if they're coming from somewhere else and they want to visit us, it would be far more logical to develop some sort of a base with resources and, you know, where you could observe things and they can exist there completely undetected and then be able to go to wherever they're from back and forth. But when they're here on Earth, they would be undetected.
Right.
And the ocean is literally 70-something% of the Earth's surface.
And we've mapped, I think, 2 or 3% of it.
Yeah.
It'd be a good place to hide in plain sight.
That's what I would do. And to make things from raw materials, meaning like molecular level stuff, you're totally off grid. You know, we don't need to strip mine. We got everything here.
Right. And if you have something that's a transmedium vehicle, so it doesn't displace the water, it works on some sort of a warp drive or something.
I think you have to get into interdimensionality then, and it gets a little wild. But if you're not displacing air or water, that means you're phasing through matter, which is theoretically doable because everything is mostly space.
Well, they said they've mapped things going under the water 500 knots.
Right, without making a splash.
Yeah, no ripples, no discernible waves.
Just Greg Louganis right in there, nothing.
500 knots under the water. I mean, what the fuck could do that?
The amount of energy you'd have to go through that much resistance of deep water, 500 miles an hour, 500 knots.
Right. Look at how when they do missile tests from subs, how those things are just like, trying to get out of the water.
Yeah.
And these things just go bloop
Yeah.
and nothing.
Well, that's the weird ones. But that would make you also think like maybe it is a hologram. Because if there are these transmedium things, they're seeing them with radar.
Right. Which means heat signature or mass.
Right.
Or electromagnetic displacement.
Or if it is some sort of photons, like some sort of a projection, would that not have some kind of a heat signature?
It would if it was ionized air. That would be plasma, so that was hot, if that's what it is. But when they go into the water, we see them under the water for a second, and you don't see any refraction.
Right.
So that kind of screws up the holographic projection theory a little bit, because there's no light refraction. So how did you do that?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking you, how do you do that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, that's my answer. Yeah.
I mean, you've had physicists on here that I've seen go,
Well, the really crazy ones are the ones that the fighter pilots have seen. Because, particularly Commander Fravor and the other people that were on that mission with him. So 2 separate jets. You have 4 people that are eyewitness to this thing. And then that there was something actually under the surface of the water, like an aircraft carrier, an enormous thing, that this Tic Tac is hovering above. And then that thing descends into the water. The Tic Tac turns towards them, jamming their signal, is hovering in space, and then shoots off at such an insane rate of speed that most of the things that we have on Earth would just disintegrate and fall apart just from the sheer pressure. It's nuts.
But that's alien, dude. It's alien weaponry.
You might be onto something.
They're coming from under the sea.
Here's the
and
thought.
they're giving us weapons. I'm all about USOs now, dude.
Yeah.
I'm all
Undersea UFOs.
It's unidentified submersible objects.
Yeah.
That's where they are, dude.
Yeah.
They're at the floor
That's
of
what
this.
Cat Williams said. Yeah. We were talking about sonar hearing
That just
devices.
touched my heart where I'm like,
Yeah.
do we both have the same crazy theory?
He said, "Is this correct or incorrect?"
Dude, I love that.
We were talking about space, about how we know more about space than we do about the ocean, which is true. And he was saying that those underwater listening devices were most likely so that they could hear UFOs moving around.
Dude.
Because imagine if there really are bases under the ocean and they know about them.
Well, here's the thing, that if they know about them, fuck you should tell us. But here's what I think.
Tell us.
The theory I had, because I heard about, I listened to an episode of Last Podcast on the Left where they were talking about USOs, and I got super into it because I was high enough. When the song hits correctly, sometimes
Yes.
the podcast will do that. And I was listening to Last Podcast on the Left, and it hit where I go like, because they had this theory that they talked about, that the millions of years it took us to crawl out of the water and evolve into fucking whatever we are, like monkeys and then Neanderthals and then humans, all that millions of years, there were things under the ocean evolving for millions of years with technology and stuff, and we're just up on the roof.
But yeah, the problem is we've never seen anything other than us that manipulates its environment. The intelligent things that we found in the ocean that are real are dolphins and orcas.
Yeah.
And whales. But
And what about
dolphins and orcas are crazy intelligent.
but like octopuses too,
yes,
right?
that's true too.
Yeah.
But none of them, octopuses are very smart, but none of them have ever figured out how to make things. Like make houses and cars and ships, and it's all like they're out in the wild. There's no houses. I used to do a bit about how dangerous the ocean is because there's no doors. No matter what, it's just
There's
fucking
caves.
sharks and crabs and no doors.
Yeah.
And everywhere you look, everything is eating everything.
Yeah.
It's literal murder soup because they all eat each other.
It's a ladder of eating.
Yeah.
Just everything goes up and eats something.
And at the top, you have killer whales that are eating whales. They eat everything.
But what if we're missing something? What if we don't see it? What if we are too stupid? What if we're just like rock monkeys and they're just like, they can't see down here. These guys have no fucking clue. You know when you're in a tinted car and someone's like looking in the window and you're looking at him like, look at this fucking idiot. He doesn't even see me. Maybe, what if that's us with the aliens in the water? What if we're like looking down there in the water and they're like, these fucking idiots. Even when they come down here, they can't see shit.
That's possible. It's possible that they also can be completely invisible. We're really close to being able to do that now with stuff. They figured out how to like project what's behind things on screens. So you can like theoretically have a vehicle that as it's moving through an environment, it's projecting what's there.
That's a Predator shit.
Yeah, like literally, that's a concept that they're working on. They're working on it for aircrafts. They're working on it for vehicles.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's so terrifying.
And that's just step one. Step two would be do something that alters reality around the thing so it's invisible.
Yeah.
Like.
So that's what. So you go into the ocean, and we're like down there, and we're so limited because we can't breathe down there. So we're limited. We're in like submarines, or we have robots, and it's just like a fucking ring. Every footage under the sea looks like a Ring doorbell, where it's just like, and we don't know what the fuck. Yeah. They could be behind it, like these idiots.
There's so little of it that we've explored. There's only like 10% of the ocean floor that we've explored. That's so crazy.
10%. And then the thing that they always see UFOs or USOs over water, it's like the high frequency that they see them, and then they just fucking just down in there, and they're like, "Follow me, bitch!" And we're like, "We can't breathe." You know, space or the ocean, we can't breathe down there. We have a limited amount of room we can move around in.
Just the idea of something being here the whole time is so creepy.
Yeah, and them, but us being, what's comforting is we're all so stupid we don't see it.
Right.
Imagine if you had a friend that's like, hey, like if a couple people could see it, you would be terrified.
Imagine if society had gotten to a point at one point in time where artificial intelligence and human brains mixed, and we created a super class of species, like a new thing that's both technological and biological, and only a small number of beings got that.
I mean,
and those beings, for some reason, left us here the way we are.
Yeah,
that's what we're seeing with these aliens. Those are humans that went down the road that we're going down right now.
And they were like, dude, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, and then maybe there was like all the disasters that happened, like the Younger Dryas impact, the asteroids hit, and all that stuff, and level society. But they escape because they're interdimensional travelers.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. It's like leaving a house. You're just like, I don't care about this house anymore.
Now we're somewhere else. They don't need food anymore. They probably work on nuclear energy or something. There's probably some crazy power source.
Or like antimatter.
Yeah,
it's like a thing that we would never even think of.
Yeah, they don't need to breed.
The thing that the Jimmy Carter brief, did you know about this when where they briefed him and it like broke him emotionally? Where he was like so upset where they were like, hey, by the way, they've been here forever. He was like a deeply religious man.
Well, Tucker Carlson's talked about this recently.
Really?
Yeah, Tucker Carlson said that he believes that they've always been here, and he believes that it's probably he was talking about like good and evil, and that we know that good exists and we know that evil exists.
Sure.
We know that people are capable of doing evil. Like these are real forces in the world.
Yeah.
And what people are saying is that these experiences that some people are having with like benevolent ones, that this is the stories of demons. This is the stories of the Bible. That there's races that are evil. There's alien races that don't give a fuck. Just like there's praying mantises.
Yeah.
That eat hummingbirds.
Or like in nature.
Just because they're super smart.
There are creatures that are aggressive, that are smart, like a hyena, and then there's like animals that are aggressive and just powerful, like lions. Like,
and think about us, the smartest animal on the planet that we know of. What do we do to chickens?
Fuck them. No.
Bro, those chickens.
I go, no, you don't fuck. Oh, God damn. This is where my whole world unravels. I go, Joe, I fuck chickens, dude. I don't know. I didn't think you were going to get me like that.
And by the way, you already have very senior people in our government that have said it's here, whatever it is.
Right.
But these things could also be from under the water. These things could be something that is as natural to Earth as the little beasties were, right, when we first discovered them. Maybe they've been here all along. Right.
So the ocean is largely undiscovered. One of the things that people need to understand is that most of the exploration of the ocean is really essentially around the outside edges.
That's right.
It's around the shores.
Less than 10%. So,
which is nuts.
A buddy of mine
90% of the ocean.
That's right.
Like what?
We know more about the moon than the bottom of our own ocean. And so
that's so crazy.
Yeah. That's fact.
And these underwater crafts, like this enormous one that apparently was near this oil rig, how many of them have been? Has there been more than one of those videos?
So let me tell you what I can say from open source.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you about a conversation I had without attribution because I don't want to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's, well, not everybody, a lot of people are familiar with the Air Force's program called the Fast Walker program, which is a program that was started by the Air Force, among other things, was to detect UFOs. That's a fact. Actually, that was part of their mission, to detect a lot of things, adversarial technology, but UFOs was one of them. It's called the Fast Walker program. There was some information that was released publicly about a similar program the Navy has. I can't talk about it because I don't have approval to talk about it. But obviously they're interested because they have equities underwater. They're interested in if there's anything underwater that can perform beyond anything we have. And I remember speaking to one individual who pulled me aside very privately, and he said, Lou, we were tracking this thing doing hundreds and hundreds of knots underwater, and it was bigger than our own submarine. Right now, you know how big our submarines are, right? They're huge.
Yeah.
And I asked him naively, I just kind of came out, well, what do you do when you encounter that? And he just said, very honestly, he said, we go around. Just like that, we go around.
Have there been interactions with these things?
We're not at liberty to discuss any details about that.
Right.
That's not for me to discuss. You and
I got to get drunk.
I'm a lightweight,
I got to get you drunk. Let's go have some whiskey. Find out what the fuck is up. So this thing is bigger than the sub, and they followed it for hundreds of miles.
Let me give you another a great event that occurred. And I'll talk about this because it's not classified.
Okay.
The portions that might be, I don't know about, so it should be fine. There's an individual who I'm aware of who was a helo pilot back in the late 90s in the Caribbean, and they were doing missile recovery. So what happened is that the Navy would test fire missiles, and then they kind of run out of fuel, they hit the water, and they sink. And at a predetermined time, they pop to the surface, we grab it with a helicopter, bring it back to shore, and we test it for telemetry and make sure that this cruise missile was doing what it was supposed to do. So they're out there in the helicopter, frogmen hanging down the line. You got the helo pilot, you got the crew chief, and the co-pilot looking all down at the bubble. And as they're about to grab this cruise missile out of the ocean, something huge and round, and what was described to me as black as a devil, starts to rise to the surface. The water begins to churn, very much like David Fravor's description of the Tic Tac incident and the roiling water. The frogman is so freaked out, he's literally trying to climb the line back up. He's like total Panic at the Disco, right? And the helicopter's like, do we do like an emergency ascent? What the hell's going on here? What this thing is about, and by the way, it's the size of a small island and round. Right as this thing is about to break the surface, it sucks the missile down and disappears.
Jesus
And that
Christ.
was, and Dave Fravor could probably tell you that story a little better than I can. But
What
when you
the
compare
fuck?
that to other things, you got to say,
Imagine being that guy hanging from that line.
no, no, thank you. We call that bait.
Yeah, but it didn't do anything to him.
No.
I would have loved that experience.
Yeah, so that was one of the anecdotes that was revealed to us by one of the
imagine. Who's
Navy
that
helicopter
SEAL?
pilots.
Who's that guy that was hanging from that?
The frogman?
Was he a SEAL?
I don't know. I only know the
Bro,
pilot.
come talk to me, please, sir.
I only know the pilot.
We'll put you in a fucking panda outfit. We'll disguise your voice. Tell me what the fuck you saw. I want to hear that story. Oh my God, small island.
Yep.
Black as the devil in
and
a small
round.
island and round.
Yeah, submarines look like this, right? They're not
Right,
round.
right.
So that was one of the anecdotes that was shared with us. Obviously Puerto Rico with the other. There's been some UAPs that have been recorded off there. Everybody knows about Aguadilla, the Aguadilla incident.
I don't know about it.
Oh, I'm sure you do. You
I
don't know
do?
about
Tell me.
Wow.
Trust me.
So you can look it up online. There's a video taken by a DHS helicopter of a very interesting object. At first, it appears to be like perhaps a balloon, but then it does all sorts of weird stuff. And as they're tracking it, it enters the water without making a splash. You can track it underwater. Then it comes up and splits into two. And it's been analyzed over and over again by a lot of experts. It's called the Aguadilla incident.
Maybe I have seen this. Is it kind of blurry looking night
There we
vision?
go. That's it.
Oh, wow.
And so keep watching that, and I'll tell you a little story about this. This is a Customs and Border Protection released this.
How fast is this thing going?
Well, so if you look here, they're looking at this through a form of night vision. I don't know the exact velocity. All that is available. But if you keep watching this, something interesting happens. So here it goes. You're going to see this thing enter the water here. There he goes, underwater, and then it pops back up and splits into two. They're tracking it. See, no waves, no wake. And then it surfaces and then does something pretty interesting here. So keep watching.
So it's going high speed through the water.
Underwater. That's underwater. Then it breaks the surface of the water again. Keep watching. Boom, underwater, over water, boom, underwater, out of water, and then you'll see it split into two. So
I didn't see it split into two. Did you see it?
If you watch the rest of the video, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, the
Okay,
video is
there.
actually really long, but that's just one example. This is these are, you can see all these videos. They're prevalent. They're everywhere. You see the aircraft on the bottom right. You see the UAP on top that's tracking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wings, no control surfaces, and does all sorts of interesting maneuvers. Right. So that's an A-10 Warthog.
And this thing's just following it.
Yep, like it's nothing.
Do you think they're trying to let people see them? Like, if you had a guess?
I don't know. I mean, could it be a demonstration of capabilities? We
Yeah.
do that, right? Every time a Russian surveillance aircraft comes by, we launch 2 F-22s and we get real close to it and say, hey,
Right.
be
But-
careful.
But not even from a military perspective. Like, if a civilization was trying to alert another civilization about its presence, wouldn't it like go towards whatever military vehicles it has and show itself? And then I would imagine that if they understand human beings, they understand our psychology, and they understand that some giant size of an island, black as the devil, circular craft that lands next to the Pentagon would fucking end the world. We would freak out. No one would know what to do.
That would be stock market crash, mass chaos. No one would know what to do. The way to introduce yourself, I would imagine, would be gradual over a long period of time to allow this civilization to accept the fact these things exist, and then slowly but surely show versions of themselves.
Yeah, we call that sensitization. You sensitize a
Right.
population or environment. But, the counter argument to that is that's a very human thing, right? We have, as humans, we always, it's almost innate. We look at everything through anthropomorphic eyes. We look at our pet dogs and we give them human names and we do things like that because we assign human value to things and because we have intentions and motivations. But most of nature isn't that way. Like, for example, when a shark bites a surfer, he's not wanting to hurt the surfer. He's just hungry. The shark's hungry. I don't care if you're a seal or whatever. I'm not trying to inflict pain. I just want to feed my belly. Intent and motivation is a very human thing. And we have to, I don't want to say resist the urge because it's almost impossible to do it, but we have to recognize that there are things that may exist that don't have human motivation. Maybe they don't care about sensitizing us. Maybe they do, but maybe it's like a computer, right? Maybe it's binary. Maybe there's some sort of binary thought process, just information in and information out. So that's the one of the aspects I've always been very careful with is to assign human traits to something that is very likely not human.